Visiting the cities of Bukhara and Samarkand in Uzbekistan helped put in perspective for me the important influence of Emir Timur, or Tamerlane as he's poorly referred to in the West just because he has a limp, and his descendants in Central Asia on an entire region that reached from Persia in the west to Mongolia in the north and into the northern reaches of India. This was from about 1370, after the Mongolian Empire had gone into decline. Emir Timur saw himself as a descendant of the mixture between the great Mongol empires and Persia. Central Asia was also one of the huge ideological battleground between the intellectuals, the men of learning, and the clerics in Islamic civilization. The grandson of Emir Timur, Ulugh Beg, was one of the leading astronomers of his time between 1394 and 1449, when he was killed by his own son, instigated by the clerics. I visited the remnants of his observatory, saw his record keeping of more than 1,000 stars. Turkic astronomer Ulugh Beg, a grandson of Emir Timur or Tamerlane. This was his observatory, and he is known to have used a telescope before Galileo was reputed to have so-called invented the telescope. What a farce! What a Western farce! Now, all that remains of Ulugh Beg's observatory is the way in which he measured the days. Isn't that amazing? The sun, can you see that? That the sun actually travels right through, and I'm in front of the tomb of Emir Timur or Tamerlane, which is a terrible name to have for someone so powerful who carried the Mughal Empire into its Muslim iteration, and his grandchildren were the founders of the Mughal Empire in India. And this is his tomb. I'm very, very excited to be here. And he's buried next to his two sons, his grandson, who was a famous astronomer, and his spiritual teacher. And up there, the ceiling is made up of paper mache to make it look like heaven, as in the word of God being sent from heaven to the prophet. And this is a symbol of Sufism, and Sufism was the dominant Islamic principle at that time. Isn't this beautiful? This is so beautiful, and I'm so proud and happy to be here in Timur's Muslim. Learning was also an important institution in that period. For me, the famous Registan in Samarkand, built from the time of Ulugh Beg in the 1400s and well into the 1660s, exemplified the best architecture for learning as a communal activity that was built in Islamic society. Walking through the courtyards, I could see how its beautiful Persian architecture was eventually copied into the centers of learning in Oxford and Cambridge in the West. On both sides of this complex are the centers of learning, and then in the center is the madrasa's mosque. And it was here that he built on his understanding of astronomy and created a culture of learning in Central Asia that contributed to the overall understanding of astronomy today, and the names of 1,000 stars or more. I mean, just to be here and to understand the confluence of the warrior class of the Mongols and the learnings of the Islamic civilization coming together and creating these amazing structures, both physically as well as institutionally. To just being able to absorb the significance of this period in history. My guide said that there were two Renaissance in Islamic history, and this is one of them, when actually Western civilization only saw one Renaissance, and they borrowed much of the learning of the fact that the world goes around the sun, and how far the stars are, and right down to how we calculate the days and the time of the year. Just interesting that we need to put in perspective the contributions of these uncelebrated geniuses of our age, on whose shoulders were the subsequent giants of astronomy, sciences, and learning. And just to be here in Samarkand and to be able to absorb this is one of my greatest sense of pride. And here I have a new friend. What is your name?
Ulugh Beg.
Ulugh Beg? Yes, my name is Daniel.
Haito.
I must say that from Samarkand and Bukhara, even India looks different when seen from Central Asia. The Mughal kings of India, from Babur to Shah Jahan, who built the Taj Mahal, were direct descendants of the Emir Timur. I realized that the reason the Taj Mahal, built in 1648 at about the same time that the final touches to the Rajasthan was still being perfected, was such a magnificent building was because the Timurid rulers had more than 300 years of perfecting the architectural instinct. Northern India was at that time a periphery state to Central Asia, and the Hindus of today want to erase the memory of that. In the same way, the Chinese imported many ideas that originated in the Silk Road. One community that was an integral part of Central Asia were the Jews. The Jews had been part of the region for nearly 2,000 years, and during Timurid rule, they lived in peace with the Muslim community. In fact, they shared a synagogue and a mosque for a long time. Today, all that remains are some of the shops and a synagogue in the walled city of Bukhara. Many left when Uzbekistan became a country in 1991. This visit to Samarkand and Bukhara set the stage for me to finally visit Iran and Iraq, which I have not done so far. If I had visited the Mesopotamian region, home to the Assyrians and then the Babylonians and the Achaemenids empires, before I visited Central Asia, I might not have detected all the linkages that made the defining civilizations of their day with the nation states of today, and the far-reaching influence that they had right down the Silk Road. Finally, I must say that the Uzbeks of modern-day Uzbekistan are the most friendly people I know. Everywhere I went, young and old people stepped up to take photos with me, courteous and respectful of foreigners and wanting to practice their English. And the high-speed train from Tashkent to Samarkand and Bukhara made the entire country very accessible.